Fabulous. Okay, and you'll need your toilet roll or small ball. And we'll just lock the meeting and we're good to go. Okay. Oh. So, just check if you can see me. So we're going to stand, first of all, with our feet in a lovely neutral position. So we're looking at our feet being on the floor and our ankles being in line with our knees and our hips and our shoulders, and we're dropping our shoulders down behind our sides like so. Lovely. And we're going to start by using the ball as a warm-up. I'm going to keep the ball in one hand and I'm just going to lift and lower. So I'm only just going beyond shoulder distance because we're warming up nice and gently. Lovely. Breathing out as you lift. Lovely. 2 more. And 1 more. And then we'll change to the other side. Lovely. So it's basically an arm float. The arm is floating within that shoulder socket. And we're thinking about that lovely neutral posture. This is number 4. We'll do 2 more like this. 2 and 1. And then we'll catch the ball like so and lift and lower. So if you're using your toilet roll, same thing applies. And lift and lower. Lovely. 2 more. And lift. And 1 more. Lift and lower. Okay, take the ball to this hand now. We're going to take this into a nice big shoulder circle. So we're coming up overhead and then round and behind. Lovely. So think about that range of movement of getting that arm into that shoulder socket. Lift and lower. And I really want you to think about visualizing that range of movement within the shoulder socket. Lovely. 2 more like this. 1. Lovely. And 2. Lovely. Change to the other side. Same again. And ignore any crooking, any areas that are a bit grumbly. Work at your own level. And if you notice one side is tighter, has got less flexibility than the other, make a mental note because we're going to go back to it. Lovely. 2 more. And 1 more. Lovely. Back to centre. So that shoulder that you felt was a little bit tighter or less flexible than the other one, choose that one and we'll do 4 more on that side. For me it's this one. We're going to take 4 more. Lovely. And 3. And 2. And 1. Smashing. Okay, coming back to centre, just give those shoulders a nice little roll. So now we're going to take the ball up in front of us and go into a classic arm float. We're going either side. I'm going to this side to start with. Here we go. So arm out, back to centre catch, and then the other side. Lovely. So floating that arm within the shoulder socket. Brilliant. 4 more. And 4. And 3, and 2, and 1. Lovely. Dropping the ball down in front of you, just so that we're opening up the chest as well. I'm going to take the ball behind me, but keep the shoulders down so that you're drawing back into the shoulder blades, opening up the front of the chest. Lovely. Make it nice and slow and deliberate because I want you to think about opening up the front of that chest. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Lovely. 2 more like this. And 2. And 1. Lovely. Let's take the arm above the head. Now the ball above the head. And we're going to take the ball behind us. Catch. And then above the head. Again, opening up through the front of the chest. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Beautiful little range of exercises to get into those shoulders, getting them moving if you've been sat in front of a computer or if you've been hacking back shrubs as I have been. It's really good getting into those shoulders. Lovely. And 2 more. 2, and 1. Lovely, coming back down to the bottom. Okay, fabulous. Right, we'll go into a knee raise, so bringing the attention down to the lower body. Knee is coming up to the hip level, coming back to center, knee, and back to center. So if we want to add in that ball, we're going to take the arms above the head, bring them back down again. Up, and I'm just going to change, catch the ball, change either side. A little bit of a balance challenge. Lovely. And 4, and 3, and 2. So this time round, if you want to tuck the ball underneath the knee, catch, change to the other side. Go to the other knee, catch. So we're bringing the knee up a little bit higher, so we can get that ball underneath. Lovely. And 3 more, so 3, and 2, and 1. Lovely. So keeping the ball above the head, I'm going to keep this leg down and curtsy with this leg behind me. So I'm curtsying, swapping the ball, and then dropping down into it. So we're just warming up the knees and the hips. Swapping the ball overhead. So you're really making these shoulders work now. Lovely. Smashing, keeping that chest lifted, elevating up through that spine. Brilliant. And 4 more. And 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Lovely. Coming back into that neutral position. Just have a little body check. Check those knees are nicely in line with the ankles. I'm going into a small knee bend, lifting the ball up to the shoulder level in front of us. So keeping that chest lifted, breathing out as you go down. Here we go. Lovely. And 5, and 4, and 3. So the bottom's going out and away, keeping that chest lifted. And 1. Lovely. Changing slightly, the right leg is going to lunge forward into a lunge. So the back heel, let me just check you can see me. The back heel is up, toe is down, knee is behind the toe on the front leg. I'm going to do a little bit of a wood chop, so I'm taking up to a diagonal, swapping and down. So up to a diagonal, you have to think about your balance here, and down. So up to a diagonal, and down. And 2 more like this, and down. And 1 more, and down. Let's change the lunge over to the other side. Same again. Knee stays behind the toe, heel is up on the back leg, knees coming down in a nice parallel line, and then we'll go into that diagonal arm lift. So up, and then down, and up. So really think about opening through that shoulders and the chest, pulling in the tummy, keeping everything nicely aligned, smashing. And 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Lovely. Coming up to centre, shake those legs out a little bit, smashing. Lastly, we'll take the hands up above the head, and we're going to do a lateral extension. Just come into shot a minute. Like so. Okay, lateral extension starting on this side. So leaning, coming up to centre, and then leaning, going the other side. Lovely. Breathing out as you reach it to one side. Breathing out as you go to the other side. And 4, and 3, and 2, Lovely. Bring the ball down, rolling through the shoulders. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to roll down to the mat, but I want you to position yourselves so that as we roll down, when we come up, we're going to do a nice little matrix with the ball at the top to get the back moving as well. So just check that you can see me. So I'm down the end of the mat. I'm going to keep my ball with me. Think about that lovely Pilates posture. So that pelvis is in a nice neutral position, making sure that it's nicely stacked on top of the hips and the ankles, and the ball is just down in front of me for the time being. So we're going to roll down towards the mat. Ooh. Don't lose the ball. And then hold it in front of you like so. Bring that chin down onto your chest and start lengthening through the back of the neck. Allow the shoulders to drop forward. Bring the rib cage and the tummy button into the back of the spine. Peeling forward one vertebra at a time. Soften the knees if you need to, if your hamstrings are a bit tight. And then start to peel back up again. So starting at the lower back, engaging the tummy through the back of the spine. And then here we're going to lift the arms above the head. Take the ball with you into a small baby back bend. Here. Come back up to centre and 4 lateral flexes, so either side. 4, back up to centre. 3, back up to centre. 2, back up to centre. And 1. And then here, bring the ball down to shoulder level. Bend the elbows so you're pressing the ball into a genie position. This is where you keep your hips facing forward. Breathe in, and we're going rotating the upper body round to the right and left. Here we go. Breathe in, round to the right. Keep those hips facing forwards. Back to centre. Breathe in, round to the left. And back to centre. Breathe in, round to the right again. And back to centre. And then round to the left. And then back to centre. So bring the ball down in front of you so your arms are nicely neutral and relaxed, and we'll roll down towards the mat again. So bringing the chin down towards the chest, peeling the vertebrae forwards from the base of the skull, past the shoulders, bring the tummy button into your spine, allow that rib cage to collapse in, keep the shoulders nice and neutral, try not to shift the bottom out, and then soften the knees if you need to, and then start peeling back again. So starting from the coccyx to the lower back to the mid back, and engage those tummy muscles. And then as you come back up and you restack that spine back up into neutral, bring the hands above your head. 1 small baby back bend here, opening up through the hip flexors, strong through the lower back, and then 4 lateral flexes. So round to the side, on the right, back up to centre, and leaning to the left, back up to centre. Breathe out as you lean, back up to centre, and the left for the last time. Back up to centre, bring the ball down to chest level, push it between the palms, elbows are nicely square, breathe in around to the right and left for 4. Here we go. Round to the right, back to centre, round to the left, and back to centre. And again, 2 more times like this. And back to centre, 1 more, and back to centre. Lovely. Last roll down. So we'll start by bringing the chin down onto the chest, peeling forward 1 vertebra at a time. Peeling, 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 peeling. Try not to let those bottoms shift out. And then from here we'll walk forwards into all 4s. Fabulous. Okay. So just position myself, check you can see me. Lovely. Okay. So from here, I'll just pop the ball there just a moment because I want to start with a cat-cow just to get that lengthening through the back. So have a think about your posture, get the shoulders in line with the wrists, come onto your fists if you feel you need to, and I want you to think lengthening through the spine. So the first cow position, take that tailbone out and away, and here think lengthening. Bring the shoulders down towards your lower back and you're lengthening from the base of the skull right down into the coccyx. And then we start to roll that pelvis round, shorten through the front of the body, bring the chin onto the chest into that cat, but we're lengthening the spine the other way. So really bring those shoulders up towards the ceiling, and then down into the cow position. Again, lengthening the front of the tummy muscles, shortening the back, the posterior chain, taking that tailbone out and away. And then we're shortening through the front of the body, but getting all of that length into the spine. And then into your next cow position. Again, come up onto your fists if you feel your wrists need to. Bring your shoulders down away from your ears. And lastly, into that cat position. And then come back into neutral. And I want you to have a think about neutral, where that neutral position is for you, where your neutral pelvic position is, and do a little pelvic tilt if you need to sort of remind yourself where that neutral position is in between A and C. It's that position B. So I want you to think about really engaging through the core and the tummy, and then take the ball in one hand and reach out like you would do into a Superman, so the arm is in line with the ear, and then we're going to flow back into a thread the needle. Nice little combination here. Stick the bottom down behind you into that lovely shoulder stretch, then come back up and back up into that Superman, reaching out so the arm is in line with the ear, and then back into threading the needle. So you're going to have to move your hips out and away. It's a nice little exercise for the hips. And then come back out into the arm reach. So lengthen through the arm and the shoulders, and then dip dive that arm down into threading the needle. Lovely. Keeping the core engaged throughout. Back into the arm extension. And then one more threading the needle. Dive that ball between the gap in the arms, and then come back up to centre. Change the ball to the other hand. Again, remember, if your wrists need you to go into fist position, please feel free. Think about that neutral pelvis, and we're going to go 4 on this side again. Here we go. So taking the arm out and away, making sure the glutes are engaged, arms in line with the ear, and then threading the needle, taking that bottom down behind you. See if you can get that shoulder down onto the mat, then flowing the arm back up, diving that arm forwards, extending through the shoulders, keeping the tummy engaged, and down into threading the needle. You will have to bend your supporting arm, and then come back up, flex the arm out so the arm is in line with the ear, and then dive through into that third threading the needle. And then lastly, so the tummy's engaged throughout all of this, making this movement happen. And then the last threading the needle here. And then coming back up to centre. Now we're going to go into a shell pose. I realise some of you who've got a toilet roll may squash your toilet roll. I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't mind. You can blame me. But if you're using the toilet roll, you may squash it. But we're going to go down into our child's pose. So our bottoms come down towards our heels and the arm is out in front of you. The idea of having the hands either on a ball or on the toilet roll is that the shoulders are lifted. You've got a little bit more extension through those shoulders. And just hold that there a minute. Think lengthening all the way through the back. Lovely, just hold that there. I'm just going to come up and check everybody's all right before we go down into our tummies. Just checking you're lovely. Smashing, okay. Right, so from here we're going to go down into our tummies. So with or without your ball or your toilet roll, I've got 2 options here. So firstly, we're going to go into a chest lift. Check you can see me. So I'm lifting the chest, engaging the bottom muscles here, and then I'm going to take the ball behind me, catch it behind me, and then take it out in front. Now, any of you who feel that you'd rather modify and do something less challenging, you can keep the head and the neck down on the floor, because you're still getting that lovely range of movement through the shoulders. But as this is an intermediate class, if you want to lift the chest here, engage through the core and the tummy, bring the tummy button up into the base of your spine, you can. Now we're going to swap the direction and go the other way. Lovely. Remembering to breathe. And we're going to do 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. Lovely. And then just rest the upper body down a moment. And then from here, no, you haven't got me to help you this week, so you're going to have to grab your ball or your toilet roll in between your ankles, like so. Oh dear, I don't know which is easier. There we go. So the knees are bent, nice right angles, and the upper body, the elbows are going to be in line with the shoulders, hands planted nice and firmly down on the mat, and I'm just lifting the chest, engaging through the bottom muscles and lifting the tummy very slightly off the mat, mainly so that your tummy's engaged and you're pulling your tummy button into the base of your spine. Shoulders are down away from your ears. And we're just going to kick the ball towards the bottom in a nice controlled fashion. This is a nice glute activation move. It's slow and deliberate, and you're not quite coming down towards the floor. You're probably an inch or so off the floor, and then you're kicking the heels and the ball towards the bottom, of course remembering to keep the tummy button in towards the spine, engaging through the core, and you should start feeling the outer bottom muscle starting to work here. We're going to do another 6 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, smashing and release. And then very delicately roll onto your sides and keep the ball or the toilet roll down there. I'm going to join you people who've got other apparatus, just so that you feel that I'm embracing things with you. Lovely. So we're on our sides. Oh, we're all on our sides. And I'm now squishing my toilet roll. So you can either lie down like so with your head resting in your arm, or you can come up so that your chest is nicely in line with your shoulder in line with your elbows. And I'm going to either hold on or lift and lower. So lifting and lowering, lifting and lowering. So you breathe out as you lift. So it's a double leg lift and lift and lower, lift and lower. 3 more. 3 and 2 and 1 and release. Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to grab my toilet roll now. So I'm going up into a side plank like so, and I'll give you a couple of options. If you'd rather go into a bent knee side plank, please feel free. The important thing is that the body is nicely in line, so the knees are in line with the hips, because very often sometimes what people do is they bend at the hip, so the hips are on their knees are coming forward. The hips need to be nicely in line with the chest and the thighs. The bend is at the knee, and you're at a right angle in that position. If not, if you want to come into a full straight side plank, you can, and we're going to thread the needle here. So here, we're going to lift the waist off the mat, take the toilet roll, and thread the needle. And we're going to do 4. And 2 more. And one more. And then come back down to centre. Smashing. And then from here we're going to come up to sitting before we switch round to the other side. So stack that spine up so everything's nicely aligned and you're in that neutral pelvis and the spine, you're sitting on your sitting bones and the spine is in that neutral position. Popping the ball or the toilet roll in between your ankles like so. I'm going to start with my right hand and I'm going to slide forward, touch the ball, and then with this other hand, let me move that out of the way, do a nice propeller move, so we're getting into that shoulder position with our shoulder range of movement. So I'm sweeping the arm backwards, a little bit like a front crawl, but again it's mirroring those positions we were doing at the top of the class. Gets a lovely range of movement into those shoulders. Do another couple and take note where there's any reduced range of movement and see if you can just build on that. Lovely. Come down to place both hands on the ball and just roll yourself back up again. Restack that spine and then we're going to go the other way, so roll the ball forward. We'll swap to the other hand this time, so I'm placing my left hand on the ball and into that propeller movement with the arm. So it's about getting that range of movement into the shoulder socket. And just drawing the arm backwards, try and keep the elbow straight if you can. And notice any areas where you might have tension. See if you can make that shoulder circle as big as you possibly can. Lovely, and two more. And one more. Coming back to centre, reset so you're nicely aligned, and then re-roll yourself back up. Restack that spine, bring those shoulders down away from your ears so you're nicely aligned. Fabulous. Okay, so next little exercise is working on our hip flexors, and you can do one of two options. The intermediate, more advanced option, which is quite strong, is lifting both legs over your ball or your toilet roll. Now actually this is where toilet roll comes into its own because it doesn't roll away, because it stays put. And I'm going to bring both feet on either side of my toilet roll, so I'm a little bit off centre. And I'm sitting back onto my sitting bones and my hands are down here like so. So my fingers are pointing towards my toes and my elbows are pointing backwards, keeping the tummy engaged. So the exercise is actually coming into the groin, that hinge muscle that's in the groin. Now, for those of you who won't remember, I fell in the garden last week and landed on my coccyx. So if I start opting out, carry on, don't stop. But it really gets my coccyx. So if you want to modify and do the easier version, it's a single leg lift over the toilet roll. If you want to go for the more challenging version, it's a double leg lift over. So here's the single leg lift over, lifting over and back down again. And I want you to focus on that hip flexor. So it's that groin muscle, it's the hinge movement in the groin. And if you're doing both legs, you really are using your core and your hip flexors, and you're right on your coccyx. Lovely. So you're lifting over, and you could do 6. Just checking you're all right. This is me opting out. Fabulous. So using that core, look at that core work. Brilliant. Or, of course, using the single leg, but you're using your hip flexors particularly. So those of you who are doing the single leg, switch over and do the other leg as well. And I can highly recommend not falling over in the garden because it hurts like mad. So if you're doing the single leg option, pull that tummy in, breathe in, and breathe out as you lift. It's a good one, isn't it? Yes, I can see the faces, I can tell it is. Okay. So 4, 6 or 8 on either side. Those of you who've done double legs, oh my goodness, you're amazing. Let me just put myself on a bigger view so I can just see. Fabulous, okay. And then have a breather. And we're going to go down to the other side now. So coming down to the side. So the other side that you were on, if you can remember which side you were on. I'm going to place the ball like so, or the toilet roll. So this is where we're doing our double leg lift. It's quite strong on the waist and the obliques and the tummy. So we're bringing the waist off the mat. If you want to rest your head down on the long, just check you can see me, on your long arm like so, place a hand in front of you for a little bit of extra stability. You can, or you can come up, but make sure that shoulder's nicely stacked on top of that elbow. And we're going to lift and lower. So we breathe in at the centre and breathe out as we lift. Here we go. So 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Smashing, lovely. Bend those knees, grab that ball, and we'll go into that side plank position. So again, just reminding yourself that your knees are in line with your hips, or if you're doing the straight leg side plank, you know, look at that body. It needs to be a nice plank, straight line, okay? And if I can just remind you, when you're lifting your hips off the mat, it's like you're jacking your hips up. Please be mindful of this shoulder. I don't want you to yank on your shoulder, okay? And my music stopped, but we'll leave it for a minute. So we're going to lift up and thread the needle with the ball or the toilet roll, and we'll do 4. So lift the waist off the mat. That's 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, and then come back down to centre. Lovely. And then lastly, sitting in that V-sit position, we're leaning back very slightly, pulling in that tummy, and I'm going to take the ball out in front of me, drop the shoulders down away from your ears, and we're just going to tuck through and then raise the arms above the head. It's actually easier with the toilet roll because it's smaller. Again, getting into that range of movement of the shoulders, lifting up that rib cage, engaging the core. Lovely. Making these circles really wide. Let's swap the direction and go the other way. So dropping that ball underneath the knees, lift up through the chest. Lovely. 4 more. And 3. And 2. And 1. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to roll back down onto our backs. And I am not rolling on my coccyx today. Rolling back, like so. Okay. So have a little body posture check. Check that those heels are nicely in line with the bottoms. And I'm going to take, so that we're going straight into quite an advanced bridge position. I'm going to take the ball and harness it in the crook of my knee, like so. Hands are down by my side, and we're going to go into a single leg bridge. Now, if you're going to find this is too challenging, go without the ball. It's much easier without the ball. And we're going to lift up for 4 on one side. Here we go. So peel and lift and lower. And I want it to be nice and slow and deliberate. Straighten up through the glutes at the top. And lift again. So the knee is in line with the hip, and it's sandwiching the ball in the crook of the knee. Come back down again and swap over to the other leg. So knee is in line with hip, the other leg is on the floor, arms down by your side, pushing up towards the ceiling, We're going to lift and lower 4 bridges. Here we go. So 4. So you're really targeting that one glute on the leg that you're pressing. Lovely. And 2. And 1. Lovely. Let's change over and do 4 more on the other side, just so I can know you've got the gist of that. So the knee is nicely in line with that hip. This knee is down on the floor. Hands are down by my side. 4 bridges, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. Lovely. And 3. Think about that pelvic stability. And 2. And 1. Lovely. Change to the other side. Sandwich that ball in the crook of the knee. Knee is in line, or toilet roll of course. Knee is in line with the hip. Pushing the hips towards the ceiling. Pelvic stability. Ooh, a bit wobbly. And 3. And 2. And 1. Lovely. And release that ball. Pop the knee in between the ball in between the knees. And then we're going to come up into a shoulder bridge from here. So if you've got your toilet roll, for instance, just to keep it in position, you're going to have to press in. So your glutes, your medial glutes, the side of your bottoms, will have to work a little bit harder. And I'm going to take the hands above my head here, and I'm going to lift up into a bridge, squeeze the glutes at the top, and then peel the vertebrae down. Peeling, peeling, peeling. So let's just talk ourselves through this. We're pressing the lower back down onto the mat, drive the hips up towards the ceiling. Really engage the glutes at the top, then peel the vertebrae back down again. Lovely. So you're having to keep the side of those glutes really pressed in to keep your little bit of apparatus in place. Just checking everybody's all right and checking that everybody can see. Lovely. So squeezing up at the top. Think if there's any waggling back and forth, bring your attention to that pelvic stability. Think about stabilising through the core. Let's do 3 more here. Lovely. And 2. And 1. Lovely. And that takes us beautifully into bringing the ball in between the ankles. Now, the focus here is to think about maintaining your lower back stability. You're going to do some froggy legs, and you'll know what I mean. So the knees are wider than the ankles, and the knees are bent, and you're going to catch your ball with your hands, and then take the ball above your head and straighten your legs out to a 45 degree. And then bend the knees into froggy legs so that you catch the ball between the ankles and then down into the 45 degree. Now, if you're finding you don't have that strength in the lower back to stop that lower back arching, just take the legs out to a tabletop position instead, because it's more important to maintain that strength through the core and through the lower back, so you're not arching the lower back. So in order to really dive into that stability into the lower back, you need to knit those core muscles together, really strengthen between the pelvis and the rib cage, that powerhouse here, strengthen in there. And if you feel, as I said, if you feel that straight leg out to 45 degrees from the floor is too challenging, there's no reason why you can't just place the ball in between the knees and only go out to a tabletop position, which is a nice modification, so you're still getting all the benefits of the work without actually losing your form, which is the important thing. Lovely. Let's do 3 more like this. Now it's quite challenging. Pull it back if you feel you're losing your form. And 2 more. And 1 more. Lovely, last one. And then if you want to pop the ball or the toilet roll between your knees, hug your knees in and just clasp your hands around your shin. Just relieve that lower back, loosen off that lower back. Maybe rocking from side to side is quite nice. Lovely. Smashing. Okay, so next little setup in a similar body position that you were in before. You can either go to a tabletop if you feel you haven't got that strength in the core, or go into a 45 degrees with the feet, but with a straight leg, 45 degrees from the floor, the feet are 45 degrees from the floor. Engage through the core so your lower back isn't arching, and then take your ball and do an arm float either side. So you've got to really think about strength. So catch the ball, take the shoulders wide and the hands wide. So if that's too challenging on the back and the core, bring the knees up to a tabletop like so instead. Because it's quite strong if your legs are in 45 degrees, because I want you to think about maintaining that lower back stability. Lovely, we're going to do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely, here, tuck the ball in between the chest and the knees, grab your hands around the shins, hold that there a moment, drop the shoulders down away from your ears. Smashing. Okay, lastly, we're going to go into a single leg stretch, which I know you know, and we're going to use the ball or the toilet roll to tuck underneath the knees. So to make it more challenging, to give it a more intermediate feel, I'm going to bring my head, neck and shoulders off the mat, again as a complete unit so that you're not yanking on the neck. And if you feel it's too strong on the neck, bring the head, neck and shoulders back behind you. So I'm going to take the ball, I've got one leg at 45 degrees, the other leg is bent and coming in towards my shoulder blade, but I'm going to tuck the ball in between and I'm driving the base of my rib cage in towards the top of my pelvis, closing that gap, pelvic stability, strong through the lower back. And then change. And then change. And I haven't got the rhythm there, have I, at all? Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm changing it completely. I'm going to do a figure 8 because it works better. Like so, and hang on, like that, like that, like that. It worked before I started the class. There we go. Figure 8, like so. But more importantly, teaching points. If you feel your neck is pulling, please drop your neck down onto the mat, like so. Otherwise, bring your head, neck and shoulders up. So even though the legs are moving, the core is really stable and strong. Got the rhythm now. We're going. Lovely. So let's do 6 more. 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Lovely. So, if you have got a ball that's a bit squishy and you want to place it in the lower back as a little bit of massage, please feel free. If you feel you've got a toilet roll and it really is not very comfortable, just go without. Or if you're quite happy to use your toilet roll, but now I've completely squashed it, bring the knees in towards your chest, hug your hands into your shin, hug your hands around your shins, and just release that lower back. I don't know how many classes this toilet roll will manage. So remembering to drop those shoulders down away from your ears. Just going to turn this down a little bit. It's quite loud. There we go, it's better. Smashing. And then take the ball or the toilet roll out Keep one leg, so the knee is bent and it's in line with your shoulder blade, and then straighten the other leg and push the heel down towards the opposite wall, out and away, and think about lengthening through those hip flexors, so into the groin, that muscle that we worked when we were lifting the leg over the ball. Drop the shoulders down away from your ears, and really think about lengthening through that extended leg. So you've got a nice glute stretch here into the piriformis. Lovely. So with the leg that's bent, pop the foot down onto the floor, release the hands, and slide the hands down the long leg, so you're driving the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. Ease the long leg in towards you. Watch you don't pull on those shoulders. You should be feeling a stretch in the back of that long leg, around the knee region. Hold that there a moment. And then with that extended leg, point and flex the foot. Point and flex. And point. And point. Lovely. Two more. And one more. Lovely. And with that straight leg, then take the outside ankle and cross it over the opposite knee like so. Now that's okay for you, just in that figure four stretch, keep it like that. If not, hook your hands through the straight thigh, ease that in towards you, pressing the elbow into the crook of the knee, a little bit more of an extended figure four stretch there. Smashing. Gently popping that foot back down towards the floor, and then we'll take both feet down towards the floor, both knees pointing up towards the ceiling. We'll change to the other side now. So the other knee comes in towards the shoulder blade, clasping the hands around the shin, and then the opposite leg straightens, pushing the heel down towards the opposite wall. So thinking about opening up through the groin, lengthening into the groin. Drop the shoulders down away from your ears, lengthening into those hip flexors. Hold that there a minute. Lovely. And then with the bent leg, just drop the foot down towards the floor, and with the straight leg, drive the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, slide the hands down the shin, and you're easing the straight leg in towards the chest, lengthening right into the back of that hamstring, so down the back of that thigh. You should be feeling a stretch in the back of the knee of the long leg. Lovely. And while we're here, we'll point and flex, and we'll do 6 of that foot. So point and flex. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. And then with the outer ankle of that extended leg, pop it over the opposite knee. So you've created that figure 4. Now if you're happy with that, particularly if you're being careful with your knees, hold it there. If not, clasp your hands behind the straight thigh and ease that straight thigh in towards you, pressing your elbow into the crook of the knee, into that nice hip opener stretch. Lovely. Hold that there a minute. Drop that foot down on towards the floor, and the other foot as well. And then bring the soles of your feet together, pressing the elbows into the crook of the knee, opening up through the inner thighs. Drop that head down so you're nice and relaxed. Pressing outwards into the knees. Bring the soles of your feet together. And then release. And then slide the feet down to the end of the mat. Take the hands above the head so that the hands are at the top of the mat, and reach the hands away from the feet. So pulling your feet as far away from your hands as possible, so that you're lengthening through the front of the tummy, stretching those abdominal muscles, also getting into those shoulders. And then release. Lovely. And then from here, like a lovely, what are we going to be, a seal, dolphin, roll onto your tummies, so that you're still in a straight line on your tummies. Rest your head down on the mat. Take one hand behind you, bend the knee, and catch that foot. Just so that you're pressing the hip flexor in towards the mat, lengthening through the front of the thigh muscles. Be careful not to pull on your shoulders. So think about pushing the groin in towards the mat, and you'll get a little bit more of a hip flexor stretch. Gently release that foot. Bring the hands above the head, change sides. So bring one hand behind you, catch that foot, bend the knee, push the hips towards the floor, lengthening through the front of that big thigh muscle and into that hip flexor. Gently releasing, taking the hands out in front of you. So I'm going to bend the elbows now, tuck the toes underneath, lift the bottom up, bend the knees, and into a nice child's pose. Take the hands out in front of you, pushing the bottom down towards the heels, taking the hands above the head, and lengthen through that spine into those shoulders. And then take the hands, so the backs of the palms slide down the side of the mat down towards your ankles, and I want you to think about drawing your shoulders away from your ears as far as you possibly can, lengthening through that spine. Smashing. And then bring the hands out in line with your ears, tuck your toes underneath, and then we're going to push the bottoms up towards the ceiling and walk the hands towards the feet, ready to roll yourselves back up again. So think about engaging through that core. So starting at the lower back, reset the hips, engaging through the tummy, so the tummy's coming into the back of the spine, resetting the vertebrae, coming back up to neutral nice and slowly. Resetting those shoulders and resetting the neck. Lovely, we're going to come back round to face you. Smashing. How are we doing? Let's just move all the hazards out of the way. Fabulous. I'm going to come in to check, because all your boxes go very small, so I can't see that. Fabulous, that's better. Lovely. So we're back up to standing now. I'm just going to give these shoulders a really good stretch. We did quite a lot with our shoulders. So take the hands out in front of you, clasp your hands, open up through the elbows and separate those shoulder blades. I'll come behind. So really think about opening that space between the shoulder blades behind you. You can drop the chin down if you want to, pulling that tummy in, and really open up through those shoulders. Gently releasing the hands, catch the hands behind you, turn the hands around and push down. So you're opening up through the front of the chest. And then if you want to, you can lift and lower very slightly. Lifting and lowering. 2 more. And 1 more. And come around this side so you can see. Release the hands. Keep one straight. Bend the elbow of one of them. Grab that forearm and just pull that arm towards you so it gets into that shoulder socket, opening up through the front of the chest. So it's sort of getting into your anterior delts here. So keep that arm nice and straight. Gently release and then bend the other arm, catch that forearm and just pull the straight arm towards you so it's stretching into the front of that shoulder region there, like so. And then gently release again, and then take the hands up towards the ceiling, bend the elbows, catch the elbows, leaning over to one side, like so, coming up to centre, and leaning over to the other side. 2 more times, 1 on each side. Here we go. Leaning and stretching, back up to centre, and then leaning the other way. Lovely. Bringing those hands down by your side. Take a big deep breath in, fill those lungs. Here we go. Breathe in. A little bit of a knee bend, reach out and breathe out at the top. And again, 1 more time, breathing in. And breathe out at the top. Fabulous. Now a little bit of a shoulder roll and a shake. How are we doing? How was that?